Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. Time for another vinyl update. Jump in with just one of the all time great metal bands and a fantastic, I guess this is a comp. Let me look. Yeah, this was all filmed, or I'm sorry, recorded in different spots throughout Europe. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Finland, Italy, Sweden, Germany, Denmark, Holland, France, Belgium. So basically, all over the place during this tour. But this is a real live one from Iron Maiden. I was super stoked to finally find this on vinyl. The cover's not in the condition that I would prefer. But this is one of those albums that just never pops up, and I found it in a local store for like $35, which is just an insane price if you know what these go for. I would love to find a real dead one. A real dead one I actually prefer to this one, but they're both fantastic comps and really just must-haves for Iron Maiden fans. Anything live from them is something you have to have. Next up, from brothers Scott Waters and No Life Till Metal. Honestly, this was a band that I wasn't familiar with, and honestly, if I saw these album covers when they came out, even knowing the people in the band, I wouldn't have bought them. I mean, the album cover is horrible, and the second album cover Scott redid. This one's a lot better than the first. The original one was atrocious. And this is a super group. I mean, these are all guys that were in big bands, so it blows me away that they use these shitty album covers. And Scott cleaned up the font, but the font was terrible. I mean, it looked like an amateur released these. I mean, it's insane. But this is Circle of Silence. Um, really killer music. Both of their albums. You've got what was the debut? Was it just Circle of Silence? Yeah, the debut was just Circle of Silence, and Suicide Candyman was the follow up. They're very different sounding. So the main thing to know about this is David Reese from Bangalore Choir and oh, except he so this is a guy that had been in some bigger bands. He's been in like a dozen other bands. I understand. Actually, am I going to show another one here? I don't think so. He's been in a shitload of bands though. I don't remember the other guys in here. The drummer went on to play in Journey. Was it Journey or Foreigner? Played in Yes for a while. Is Larry Farkas in here? I want to say. I mean, there's just so many people in this band. So this first one, and it's funny. I talked to Scott after listening to him the first time. Initially, I liked the second one better. I thought the first was just okay. And with more spins, this is the one that I really gravitate towards, although I do like the second one. So the debut is a late 80s, early 90s hard rock sound. Just really good, really solid late 80s hard rock. Really dig it. Fantastic album. Highly recommend picking these up. Actually, if I think about it, I'll put a link down below because you can still grab these. And if you're a fan of David Reese, just really killer late 80s hard rock. It's really worth grabbing this. And then the second album, when was this one? Does it say? Originally 95. So I think one was 92. No, 94 and 95. Okay. This one, though, they were definitely listening to some Alice in Chains. There's definitely some grunge influence on this, which I really like. Like I said, upon initially listening, this is the one that really stood out to me. And then after multiple listens, this is the one that I listen to the most. But just fantastic. Another really killer hard rock with a little bit of grunge, 90s alternative influence. And a nice little shout out to Scott for this album cover. I believe this is his daughter-in-law. But he completely designed this album cover. And if you go and look at the original album cover for this, it's the most disgusting thing. It's so ridiculous. I mean, it looks like a 5-year-old drew it. So, both killer albums. Highly recommend picking those up. Next up, this one is just an ass kicker. This is not a band I was familiar with. The members of this band, they put out a few albums. They split up. A couple members went on to play in... oh, give me a second. Crocus. One of the guys went to. They all went on to do other things, basically. Were they Belgian? No, I believe they were. It's a Swiss band, but this is Killer, and the name of the album is Lady Killer. It wasn't released. This is the original cover. I believe in the U.S. it was released under another cover. This is fantastic. I highly recommend searching this out. Quite a bit of Accept, very heavy Accept influence. Also a little bit of Scorpions. Just fantastic. This was 81. And man, it is so good. The song Midnight Highway Rider, Lady Killer, Come Along. I mean, just a fantastic album. Again, highly recommend picking this one up. This was a German pressing that I picked this up at one of my local stores. It was just a blind buy. Love it. I've spun this at least a dozen times. Next up, actually, speaking of David Reese, he's not on this album, but I believe he was on the band's second or third album. I think this is like their fifth album. Let's see if it says on the back who's in it. Another super group, though. Doesn't matter. This is Tango Down. I can't remember all the guys that were in this band. But again, David Reese was in it for a short period of time. So I have their debut. Scott sent me a copy of the CD. I didn't like it. I thought it was just okay. I ended up getting this one. I think Retroactive was having like a half price sale. Something like that. Maybe 75% sale. Something like that. I got it for cheap. So I decided to give it a shot because I heard a couple people talk about how much they like it. Really killer hard rock. Really ended up loving this one. Again, gave this one 4 or 5 spins. I'm trying to think who all is in this band because this is another band with just a bunch of killer guys. Oh, let's see. Yeah, so Chaz West, he's been in a couple bands. But Scott Miller, Axel Gesner, and Keith Michaels, none of those jump out at me. Chaz West, I know, was in a couple of other bands. But really good album, though. And definitely recommend going to Retroactive and grabbing a copy of this while they're still available. I don't know. I believe there's one other of theirs that's on vinyl as well. But again, really good hard rock. Next up, this is Rock's Biogenesis Black Widow. So the original EP, I believe it made my top 20 list from 2000. I think it was 2018 when it came out. I loved it. I played it nonstop. So I was really happy when this finally came out on vinyl. What's cool about this is it came with one additional track on vinyl. And then I believe the promo copy, the vinyl pressing was press a CD with an additional extra track as well. If you guys have been around the VC for a long time, Eli, who was a member of the VC, still is. He still does some Kiss videos from time to time. He's the drummer here, was the drummer in this band. Unfortunately, after this, the band basically split. The band members have created a new band and have a new album coming out relatively soon. And I don't. The singer, I believe, is still going by Biogenesis, but it's basically a whole new band. But really good. I don't know what you'd call it. Progressive hard rock, progressive metal. Really dig it though. Next up, I was really excited when I saw this because I've got some early concerts from them from like 82 and 83 that I think are phenomenal. I don't like this as much. This is 78 to 81. Most of it's from the late 70s. There's a couple really killer 70s hard rock songs on here. There's also a couple songs that are pretty weak. This is more for a Dokken completist. Again, like I said, there are some tracks on here that I absolutely love. And I'm a big fan of Dokken. But this is the Lost Song 78 to 81 from Dokken. These are pretty cheap too. You can get them for, I believe, under $20 on Amazon. Speaking of Accept earlier, Objection Overruled. This saw the return of Udo after David Reese left the band. Just a fantastic album. Accept doesn't have a bad album in my opinion. can't go wrong. Highly recommend this. This was an MOV pressing. I believe they also pressed the album after this as well, which I still need to pick up. Next up, Bride, Tsar Bomba. It's just really good. Hard rock, Bride. I kind of hesitated to buy this one just because I didn't like their newest album. I love all of their early albums. The newest one just didn't do it for me. This is really good. It's kind of a transition. It's not the sound of the early Bride albums, which are all absolutely fantastic. This is still just really good hard rock, but there you go. And this one, I don't know if they were all signed. I know the first 50, if you pre-ordered, came signed. Let's see. Next up, we've got, what is this? Soldier, Babylon, and Beyond. Soldier is a 80s hard rock band. I believe this one came out in the 90s. A lot of the Christian bands, they were always a couple years behind the mainstream. I think that's kind of what happened with these guys too. Babylon was one of their albums, and then the And Beyond was some of their demos. There was a CD version of this that had even more. It had like 3 demos and their debut album. Really good though, just really good 80s metal. I really dig it. I had never heard of the band. I basically bought this because I bought the rest of the Underground series and just wanted to have them all. And, I've played this one quite a bit in the 2 years or so. Since when did this come out? 2018? Yeah. This is one that sat in my inbox forever. And I spun it a few times. And the reason it hadn't made it into my collection is because it came in these J sleeves. And I waited until I finally got around to ordering some hard sleeves to put on the background. Same thing with the Tsar Bomba. I've had this one for years too. 2018 as well. So... same thing, just waiting for some sleeves to come in. And then last but not least, I wasn't sure what to expect with this one. Again, kind of like Bride, I did not like the band's newest album. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. But compared to their 80s stuff, I like all but one of their 80s albums. And I wasn't sure what to expect with this one, but I bought it to support Brother Scott Waters because it's on his label. And I love it. I've played this 4 or 5 times. I can't wait to spin the other one that came out during this era as well. Fantastic album, but this is Crack of Dawn from Mass. And I believe this one's on blue vinyl. Highly recommend picking these up, though. He also released Fighter last year. Absolutely phenomenal. A must-have. I would say the same thing. If you like any of the Mass albums, this is one that you got to have. That's it, guys. I hope everybody's good. Take care. Subscribe, and see you soon. Bye.